I'm Andy Bichlbaum. I'm a member of the Yes Men. And what we do is we get ourselves invited to corporate conferences as people were not. And we give presentations that we kind of intend to shock people at these conferences. But very often they just kind of sit there and listen happily. We've been to conferences as the World Trade Organization, as Exxon, as Halliburton, as the US federal government, etc. And we've been to all kinds of conferences, including one of Canada's largest oil conferences in Calgary, Alberta, for example. We were there about a year ago, and there were about 30,000 people at this conference, huge oil conference. And we decided to go as Exxon. As the price of oil has gone up, or as the price of oil went up, companies started mining oil from the tar sands there. It's an incredibly polluting and environmentally damaging way to get oil. You basically you strip mine the soil, so the province of Alberta looks like the moon in a lot of parts. And it's about 3 times as polluting as regular oil extraction. It emits about 3 times as much carbon dioxide. So we figured that a company like Exxon, which is actively doing this, must have a plan for what happens when their activities lead to planetary doom, which they could. So we figured they must have a plan for that. And maybe the plan is to turn all the people who die from climate calamities into fuel. I mean, they're a company, they're thinking about the bottom line. They must have, some plan. They're not just going to lead to planetary destruction and not make a buck off it, right? So we go and we get ourselves invited to this conference as Exxon. I'll tell you how in a minute. And we prepare candles that are supposedly made of human flesh, and we put hair in them to make them stink really good. And we go as Exxon to this conference, and we pass out, and there I am on the podium. People in the audience, there's a bunch of people who've paid like $50 a head for this special lunch they've heavily advertised. We contact them, we say, we've got a great speaker for you. We're a PR agency. We pretend to be a big PR agency. We say, we have a great speaker for your conference. He happens to be the ex-CEO of Exxon, Lee Raymond, very famous man. I'm sure he'll do wonders for your conference, and they're absolutely thrilled. We also tell them to keep the lid on it, not to tell anyone, because there's a small chance that he might not be able to make it. Very busy man, constantly advising the president. So they're very excited, and they print in big, bold letters, this speech will be presented by Lee Raymond. So they actually print it in the program. They say this will be a humongous announcement, big media impact, which is what we've told them. But we told them not to mention Lee Raymond. They went ahead and did it anyways, and we were terrified that Lee Raymond was going to hear about it, or that Exxon or somebody was going to hear about it and tell them, well, no, Lee Raymond is not planning to go to Calgary. But it didn't happen. So we showed up. We said, we're really sorry, Lee Raymond has to be with the president. He's got some urgent energy business to attend to. And they said, well, okay, whatever, fine, you're on the program, speak. And so I go up. And and I'm representing the National Petroleum Council. Mike, my colleague, is representing Exxon. And we pass out about 300 candles in the shape of this guy. And they're special candles. They've got a little bit of human hair in them so that they smell very special, very horrible smell to them. And he passes them out, and I'm announcing, well, our solution at Exxon, in case of climate change, in case things get really bad, is, we're a company, we're thinking of the bottom line. Yes, climate change could become disastrous. It could be horrible for all of us, but don't worry, we have a solution. Billions of people may die, we will be ready to turn them into fuel. It was couched in this corporatese kind of language, but you look at the speech, and the speech is printed. You can see it online. It says that. I mean, and then to make it absolutely clear, we pass out these candles, and then we say this is in tribute to a man who gave his life, who well, he was going to die, but he generously offered his body as a test subject for our program in dealing with climate change. And then on the screen appears a tribute video to this guy, Reggie Watts, an Exxon janitor who, because of his exposure to various things, died of cancer or something, and generously offered his body to this program. And he says on camera to the audience, I'd like to be a candle. I think I would like to be a candle. And these people are holding a candle which is shaped just like him. You look at it and it's him. It's like he's got a big afro. And at that point there's a predictable reaction. And I get basically hustled from the stage by the giant organizer of the conference. And Mike does as well, and we get taken off stage to this little holding pen by security, and he grills us and says, like, oh my God, you guys are going to jail for so long for this. Absolutely ravenously furious. And then the kind of anticlimax of this story is that then the police arrived, and we told them the story, and they laughed. That was it. They just laughed.